and all, I'm Alexis, aka the Sloth Reader, and I'm here today to do the Reading Habits book tag. Of course, I will leave the original video linked down below so you can go check that out. This book has 12 questions, so I'll just go ahead and get into it. The first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? The answer is no. I spend most of my time in my apartment either in bed or on my couch, which is right here, in case you guys didn't know that. But I do everything there. So those are like my two places I do everything. So I read there, I watch TV there, so I mean, it's not like designated for reading because I use it for everything else too. Question number 2 is bookmark or random pieces of paper? Both. If I have a bookmark at hand, I will say in the last year I've gotten a lot better about using bookmarks because I usually start reading books here, so I'll have the forethought to put a book in before I start reading it. In the past, literally whatever I could get my hands on, especially when I was working at my old job, I would literally just print out receipt paper and use that as a bookmark because that's what I had available. So literally whatever I have available, but if I have a bookmark, I'll use a bookmark. Question number 3 is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop reading at the end of a chapter or a certain number of pages? I prefer to stop reading at the end of a chapter. 9.5 times out of 10, I will read until I'm at the next chapter and then I'll stop. Obviously, if time won't allow that, like if I'm waiting at the doctor's office and I'm waiting to be seen by the doctor, obviously I can't stop like at the end of a chapter because I have to just stop whenever they call me. But if it's my choice, I have to stop on the end of a chapter. Which is why long chapters in books are the bane of my existence, because it's so hard to do that with long chapters and it drives me crazy. Question number 4 is, do you eat or drink while reading? No. Typically if I'm having like a meal, I don't like to read. I can't. My brain can only focus on food. So typically, like if I'm eating, I watch TV. I usually always have something to drink with me, whether it's just water or not, but I try not to drink anything that's like gonna stain my pages. So I typically try to only drink water if I'm reading, but 9 times out of 10, if I'm hungry, like I make an effort to stop reading. So question number 5 is multitasking, music or TV while reading? For the longest time, I couldn't do either while I was reading. I had to be in like a very quiet environment for me to read. I think college changed that because a lot of times while I would study, I would listen to music while I would like read pages for studying. If I'm reading for pleasure, I always have the TV on. Usually I watch most of my YouTube videos while I'm reading, and I do both. Sorry, my questions are on my phone, that's why I have my phone in my hand. But I still can't listen to music unless it's in my headphones. Like, it's weird, I don't know why. I think it's because if I hear music like on the radio or like playing out loud, I think I have the urge to sing along too much. But if it's in my headphones, it's like my brain is telling me like it's quiet time, so you can't sing aloud because you're listening to music in your headphones. So I know that's so weird, but TV I always have playing while I read. Music I can only have playing if it's in my earbuds, not out loud, which is so strange, but that's the way it is. Question number 6 is, one book at a time or several books at once? I am a serial several books at once reader. I cannot read one book at a time. There might be like a couple of hours where I'm only reading one book, but within a day, I probably will pick up at least 2 books to read from, especially because I'm always listening to an audiobook like to and from work and stuff like that. Currently reading, I think I've got like 5 books on my Goodreads shelves, and 3 of those are books I'm actively reading. The other 2 are like on hold at the moment, but I'm still saying I'm currently reading them. No, I cannot read one book at a time. Unless it's like a book I'm planning to binge in a day, but that rarely happens. So 9.75 times out of 10, I'm reading at least 3 books at a time. Question number 7 is, reading at home or reading everywhere? I did kind of answer this question already, but I will read anywhere and everywhere. I take my backpack with me to work, and I always carry at least 1 or 2 books in my backpack, which means typically if I like go to the doctor's office or if I have to run an errand, I usually bring my book bag with me, which means I usually bring books with me. And when I'm driving around, I always have my audiobook playing, and if I'm going into the grocery store, I usually will listen to my audiobook in my headphones, so I will read anywhere and everywhere I can if time allows it. Question number 8 is reading out loud or silently in your head. Both. I love to read out loud. Just when it's like me in my apartment by myself, I'll pause whatever I'm watching to read certain passages out loud. I love doing different voices for every character, like just to myself and my cats, because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy reading out loud. I enjoy the theatrics of reading out loud. But most of the time, I mean, that's usually like maybe 10 chapters out of every book that I will read out loud. So mostly I'm reading in my head just because I read faster in my head than I can out loud. But I do love to read out loud, like a ton. Like it's just fun for me. Question number 9 is, do you read ahead or even skip pages? No, I've mentioned this before, but I am like almost to the point of being neurotic about not being able to read ahead. Like even if I skip, like, cause sometimes what I'll do is I'll go past prose to see when the next line of dialogue is, just because I enjoy dialogue. So I will like skip prose sometimes to read dialogue, but I have to go back and read that prose. If I don't, like literally there's like a voice in the back of my head that's like, you have to go back, you have to go back, you have to go back. And I can't read on until I've read everything, until I know for a fact that I've read everything that I've missed. Because like it's almost like my shoulders get creeped up and I get like an anxiety about missing portions of a book. So I can't, as much as I've oftentimes wanted to skip chapters in certain books, I can't. It gives me anxiety to do that. I can't skim read, I can't, just can't do it. Question number 10 is breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I don't really have a preference for breaking spines. If I have to read a book comfortably, I will. If it's not necessary, then I'm not going to do it. There have definitely been times when I have broken spines because, especially with like mass market paperbacks, it's so hard to try and read this and not break the spine. Like that's way too much effort than just being able to be like, cool, here's the book. So, I mean, like if it's impeding my reading experience where I'm like trying to read the book like this because I'm trying to avoid breaking the spines, then I'll just do it. But I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, broken spines. So I don't care if I do, but it's not like I go out of my way to do it, if that makes sense. And question number 11 is, do you write in your books? Not anymore, no. When I was in school and I would read books for literature, yeah, all the time. Here's my copy of Pride and Prejudice that I read in school. I'm sure I can find, yeah, there's definitely, you know, times when I would write things in the margins for context for like school, for like academia. For pleasure, no. If I want to remember stuff, I'm a big fan of tabs. I like the way tabs look when you tab up a book. So if there's stuff I want to remember, I just do tabs. But I also don't think there's anything wrong with writing in books. Though admittedly, most of my writings in books are usually stuff that makes me laugh. To give you an idea of the kind of content I write in my books, on page 55 in chapter 2 of Pride and Prejudice, I highlighted the quote, "I have not the smallest objection to explaining them. You either choose this method of passing the evening because you are in each other's confidence and have secret affairs to discuss, or because you are conscious that your figures appear to the greatest advantage in walking. If the first, I should be completely in your way, and if the second, I can admire you much better as I sit by the fire." And my comment that I wrote was, "dead ass." So, to give you an idea of the kind of, you know, great note-taking I took in high school. There you go. Alrighty guys, so that's the reading habits book tag. Question number 12 was to tag people, but I never tag anybody because I'd never do. So I would absolutely love to know your answer to any of these questions down in the comments below. If you like what I do, I upload videos on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and I'll see you guys soon with another one.